Okay, so hey guys, and welcome back to another predictions video. And in today's video, I'm going to be predicting the Usman versus Edwards trilogy fight. If you are new around here though and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you're doing like the video, and let's get straight into it. So going into this fight, Edwards is 20-3 with 7 KOs and 3 submissions, and Usman is 20-2 with 9 KOs and 1 submission. This fight is for the welterweight title. Their last fight ended with Edwards winning via KO in round 5. This is in Edwards' home country, back in England, UFC back in England, and a pay-per-view back in England, which has been a long time since that's happened. I can't remember the last one. It might be Bisping. I might be wrong. I probably am wrong. But still, been a long time. Also on this card is Gaethje versus Fiziev, which I think Fiziev will win via decision. I think Gaethje isn't as good as what he used to be. It is a shame because when he was in his prime, when he beat Tony Ferguson, he looked very, very good in that fight and looked like a very good fighter. And I just don't think he's at that level anymore. And I don't think Fiziev is a crazily good fighter, but I think he could come through. Possibly, if you see it as an upset, get an upset here and go on to a better fight, and perhaps maybe get a Muhammad as a next fight. Or I don't know if Muhammad would want to take that fight, or I don't know who he'd fight next, but there's probably is a few options that I'm missing out here. But well, Gilbert Burns, perhaps. I think he's got a fight announced, but still a great fighter to fight as well. But yeah, I don't think Gaethje's at that level anymore, and I think Fiziev is just heading more into the prime of his career, and so yeah, I think Fiziev will be able to win that one. Back to the Edwards-Usman fight. Edwards caught Usman lacking multiple times in that second fight, in the last fight, and that's how I think he got the victory. I mean, it wasn't just a kick, and people are missing out bits, but people are kind of just mentioning the kick. But Edwards, he caught him lacking. He got a takedown on Usman, which is pretty much unheard of. I don't think anybody's ever done that in the UFC, and it's just because I think Usman wasn't prepared for what Edwards was going to come and try and do. Just was basically just surprising him every time that he did anything, and so Usman, I'd argue came underprepared, maybe overlooked Edwards a bit, and that's what punished him. Really, I'd say he got too comfortable, especially in the third and fourth round. He was dominating, he was looking good, but I mean, he was smothering him. He looked good, like I said. But yeah, I think that just made him get too comfortable, and that's why the knockout ended up happening. Of course, if that would have gone to the cards, I think Usman would have won that fight and should have won that fight, and so that's why there's been debates about the fight, and that is not the only reason. Of course, Usman's been very dominant, but one of the reasons why they are rerunning it back straight away. Usman though is a composed, strong, powerful, and well-conditioned fighter. He is accurate, has great combinations, will wear you down, breaks you down, tries to bully you with his great pressure. He controls the center. He is experienced. He feints very well. That's kind of like the complete package right there. I mean, there's not many things he can't do. He is a very, very good fighter. That power and that strength is crazy. I'm never going to forget that KO he did on Masvidal. That was mental and very impressive. And he's very well conditioned. Like I said, he was definitely outworking Edwards and looked like the fighter that was, like I said, in more control in that in the second fight. I keep saying the second fight. But yeah, like I said, got caught lacking. I suppose downsides of Usman is he does coast at times. He doesn't always pose, or doesn't really pose a massive submission threat. He's very dominant on the ground. He will wear you down on the ground, but he doesn't really pose a massive submission threat, which I think if he does work on, and if he could have done in that Edwards fight, he could have got him out of there, I think. But that's something which he should probably be trying to work on a bit. He does stay at the range for a long time. That's what's managed to get him knocked out, really, because he just stayed at Edwards' range for too long and just waited, and that's not really something you're going to want to do. Obviously, he's got the power, so he's more used to being able to do that and then just land his shot, but he forgets that he's opened to get shot as well doing that, And I mean, the way that Edwards lined up that shot was very, very impressive still. And I don't think many people could have done that, but still, he put himself in that position. And I also would say he doesn't have the best of chins. He's not just got tested against Edwards with that chin. I believe it was against Burns or Masvidal that he got tested his chin as well. So I don't think his chin is crazily good. But I mean, they're really the only downsides, not massive amounts. Edwards, though, is a confident, slick fighter who changes levels well, finds his range well, has good back control if he can get you there, which isn't always the case, but can do. He's fast, he lines up shots well, like I said. He has good takedown defense. He switches stances, which is something as a striker, which is very interesting to me. He is a bit of a risk taker, which was what helped him in that Usman fight. He was being unorthodox and taking a few risks, and of course, like I said, that's what helped him, but it's not always something that's going to pay off. He does have a good chin. I'd argue he has a better chin than Usman, and he has a great coach in Dave Lavelle. That team, that talk that he did, that kind of motivational talking, I believe the 4th to 5th round, I might be wrong, but in that last fight, that's what really, really spurred him up. And Edwards looked like he was done, to be honest, and he was tired, and I don't think his gas tank's crazily good, and he was tired, and he looked like he wasn't really wanting to go to that final round, but Dave Lavelle got everything out of him and arguably helped him get that knockout. He was a big part in it, I'd say, and yeah, that's a very important thing that you have to have in your corner. I'm not saying Usman doesn't have a good coach, but just what happened with that was very inspirational in a way. But yeah, like I said, Edwards, very good. I'd argue complete package, but not overly. His ground game isn't crazily good. He's not really much of a submission threat either to anybody that he faces. He is good on the ground. If he can get you there, he is good on the ground. But he is a better striker out of the two. Well, not saying that you out of the two in the fact of ground and striking. Not comparing him to Usman with striking, by the way. Edwards isn't conditioned the best. Like I said, he looked like he was struggling quite a lot. He can be unnecessarily passive, and that's what he was in the 3rd and 4th round in that fight versus Usman. He just kind of, I don't know if he let him, but he did in a way let Usman control the fight, and maybe could have done a bit more to try get out of them positions. But I suppose that shows Usman's dominance. But I mean, the corner was saying was being passive as well. He's not as strong or as powerful as what Usman is. I think the reason he got that knockout was because it was unexpected from Usman, like I've said. But very good fight, very good matchup. Glad to see the 3rd one coming back so soon. I suppose it's quite recent, yeah. Usman is the favourite for this fight, and I think that Usman will win via unanimous decision. I don't think lightning strikes twice here. If Usman can do what he was doing in that last fight, and just, like I said, be more aware and not coast, but he can still bully him, but not coast. There's a difference. Then I think he'll be able to win via decision. I don't know if he's going to be able to get a stoppage here. I don't think either fighter will. But that's my prediction. I would love to see Edwards win as a fellow Englishman in England. I would love to continue having a champion, but I just don't see it happening, to be completely honest. And then, I mean, I've got a few options. Chimaev, obviously quite high ranked. I don't know what weight division he's even going to be going into at the moment, but of course he's ranked in the welterweight division at the moment. There was speak of McGregor versus Chandler, because their fight is going to be in the welterweight division from what I believe, and McGregor was on the Ariel Helwani show a day or two ago, and McGregor was saying he's keeping an eye on this fight and he would love to fight him if he beats Chandler, but I mean, I don't think he overly deserves it, but money talks, possibly could happen. Or Muhammad, I would love to see Muhammad get a title shot. I think he deserves it, to be completely honest. He's been somewhat of a gatekeeper for a little while, trying to work his way up, and I do think he deserves it, but we'll have to wait and see. But for the moment, this is the fight that everybody cares about. And yeah, that is it for today's video. Hope you did enjoy. Like the video if you did, like the video, subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching.